Yes, I do. Okay, so
Yeah.
the first person has asked three questions. I mean, there are three short, quick fire questions. And so, Dylan, Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Airbus or Boeing?
Boeing.
Boeing, fair enough.
You?
I'd say Nike.
Yeah.
Um, Coke. I mean, I don't. I mean, it's just I
Don't
don't.
drink Pepsi that much. I won't.
I don't really notice the difference considerably. I don't.
Yeah.
I think if you gave me them, I wouldn't really know
Mainly just
what
the
was different.
marketing.
And I would say Airbus. Airbus have an A380.
Yeah, but the Boeing 747 is just it's the epitome of British Airways.
Yeah, but it's not Boeing's not British, is it?
I don't think so.
I think it's American.
Yeah, maybe.
It's American, yeah.
Oh, that's my brother. He's good at aviation things. Right.
Yeah. Okay. The next question is: what is your favorite form of revising? By this, they've given two options. They said
Okay.
blurting or active recall.
Active recall. I hate bloody blurting, man. I don't do this blurting, blah blah blah. No. And then writing. No, I don't do that. I do active recall, flashcards, and then past paper questions. That works for me personally. What about you?
I would say the same thing. I mean, I've tried blurting once or twice, and it just I
Didn't
didn't.
work.
I'm getting much out of it. I mean, I'm probably doing it wrong because there is a lot of evidence to say that blurting is effective, but I feel as if active recall is something that I'm comfortable with, so
Mm.
I'll stick with it. But you know, my favorite form of revision: YouTube videos. I mean, it's easy to get distracted on YouTube, but I feel as if when you find the right YouTube video that talks about your subject and it has an engaging person talking about it, I think that's one of the most interesting things that you can learn. That's one of the most interesting things you can learn from because then you associate different ideas at different points in the YouTube video, different diagrams they may draw, and things like that. So yeah.
No, completely. Good. Is there a third one?
There is a third one, and it is asking if you could be a prime minister
Mm.
during the 20th century, what prime minister would you be and why? I guess due to the fact that you mentioned that you are politics students multiple times. Well, we have mentioned we're politics students multiple times.
See,
So
I
I
think
guess
right. Yeah, go ahead.
I, I guess in this question, I don't think they're trying to talk about like what was happening in the times. Like, I feel as if it's what period of time would you most likely to be prime minister of. So it's not about like like whatever prime minister's politics were. So like if you said the 80s,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not
I mean, it's not to say what our political views are and then what prime minister we want to be doing.
yeah.
It's more just like, okay, cool. Um, I don't. I feel like it would be kind of cool to like be Atlee and then just sort of see the first edition of the NHS.
Yeah.
That like just as a spectacle would be quite cool. What about
Fair enough.
you?
I mean, I'm torn. I'm torn. I feel as if Blair in the 97 onwards, purely because there was that change in millennium. What,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
millennium.
That I was debating between Atlee, Thatcher, and Blair.
Or Thatcher, I was thinking, just purely because of the 80s. Like I think the whole 80s music, fashion, culture, and everything was something that was completely different to what
Mm,
everything else was. And I feel as if the 80s, I mean, music wise, I think was probably one of the best decades of British music
mm.
of all time. And so, yeah, I'd probably say 80s purely because of music. But yeah, I mean, they could have just asked what period would be your best in the 20th, what period you'd like to be in the 20th century. But here we go.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much for sending those questions in. Really appreciate it. And yeah, that brings us to the end of this podcast. So our one key takeaway from this podcast is, Aniruddh, what is your key takeaway?
I'd say sport has the ability to unite people, but it also has the ability to separate people. And I feel as if it's important that we focus our efforts as a community, as societies, towards uniting people through sport, as it will ultimately, as sport is ultimately something that has the ability to make people happy, make people sad, but make people feel connected and part of a conversation that's bigger than themselves.
I have nothing else to add. That was brilliantly put. So, thank you very much for listening to today's podcast. We really do appreciate it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share it across Spotify, across Instagram, and across Snapchat, all of those good social platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, give it a like, and leave a comment saying what you found interesting. And if you disagree with us, great. We want to hear about it. We want to engage you guys into having a bit more discourse with us. So please do get involved with all of the content that we are producing. And we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Have a great rest of these next 2 weeks, guys, and make sure to always check up on your mates, how they're doing. And remember, sport is a mechanism for all. Thank you, and have a great time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.